that. You can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Means that everybody can see my screen. That's nice. So once again, I want to welcome everyone to the Microsoft Security Bootcamp. So these are cloud bootcamp, and it's actually where we train people, we build people, like the name implies, NextGen Cyber Army. So we train people, we build them to like become generational soldiers in cybersecurity. So that's our goal. So we have our organizers, like people like Emmanuel Itoje. I know we have been with him. We have Haladu Abdullahi, we have myself, we have Steve Osonuga, and we have some mentors like Opeyemi, Haladu, Chinky, Ekechuku, Chidima Ugu, Elvis, and also. So this is a very big time that I want to welcome everyone to this bootcamp. Yeah. So firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Oyimafu Joshua Emmanuel, as you guys know me. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm a technical architect, M365 Azure and cloud security. So I have some certifications, and I didn't just post these certifications here to like make us feel like I've not started Edu, but it's more or less like a motivation to us. There's even one that I've not added here, security, Azure security engineer. So the essence of certifications is that certifications helps you to show that you really know what you are doing and to actually motivate you to actually do well. So that's it. So please mute your mic, please. If you are joining the call, mute your mic. Always check that your mic is muted, because if we say we should turn off the mic for all the attendees, it's going to affect. If you want to ask question, we have to go into unmute the mic. So please always mute your mic when you are joining meetings, please. We plead. So we already know our approach. We want the section to be interactive and engaging. That is why we don't want to mute mic for everybody. But we should also try to mute our mic when we are not talking. When you don't have any question to ask, try to mute your mic. We are open for communication, just like Tolu just asked questions. So you can always ask us questions, even in the group chat, even in our meetings like this. We are always open for question and answer. Yeah. So we are open for feedback also, and we like us to apply growth mindset. So it's good you grow, train yourself to grow. So today we are talking about plan and implement entitlement management. At the end of these sections, we are going to have various objectives that we will achieve. So one of the objectives is we are going to understand what entitlement management is. We are going to be able to define catalogs. We are going to be able to define access packages. We are going to plan and implement and manage entitlement. We are going to understand what entitlement is. I know so many of us, we have different meaning of entitlement in our head, but the truth is each two have their meaning for everything they build. So Microsoft have their own definition for entitlement, which we are going to know Microsoft definitions for entitlement and how it works. And also we are going to see how we can implement and manage terms of use. Terms of use is very important because most times you need to seek users' consent to anything you do. So should in case tomorrow they take you to court, you can always tell them that you signed it, you agreed. They will tell you, when did I sign it? When you wanted to sign it, remember, you accepted one terms of use. So terms of use is very important. And we're going to see how we can configure and create it. And we also have managed lifecycle of external users in M3 in Microsoft Entra ID. Haladu has done justice to this. Like external, I remember Haladu really took his time to explain all these things. Then configure and manage connected organization. So we're going to see how we can manage all this. So at the end of the class, like people will always say, if you don't understand this thing, that all these objectives here, because these are my objectives for the class, come and ask me that why do you not understand it? And I'm going to explain to you. Yeah, so per user entitlement will still cover. So let's start now with entitlement management in a big picture. So let's look at this we have on the screen. What comes to your mind? The way this screen is, this is how life is. Life is like a market. We come and we go. Like a musician sang, in this life we come and we go. Story of my life. So that's life. People come, people leave. And that's actually the lifestyle of a lot of organizations. So governance and identity lifecycle management is very important because those are the two things that you can't do without. People come into your organization and people leaving your organization. You can never avoid it. People must leave. Even if you like pay them 10 million at the end of the month, they will still come and tell you that guy, I want to resign. It's either they want to jackpot to UK or they got a better offer. Better offers will always come for people. That's just it. So that's why life cycle management is very important. So governance is the process of overseeing and managing a system. If we look at this screen now, user leaves. When a user leaves, it is called the provisioning. So provisioning is when you add a new user, like you are creating a new user. Creating a new user is provisioning. We can see the life cycle. You provision a user. After you provision the user, you configure and grant the user access. So in granting the user access, it's more or less like giving the user access to groups, adding, maybe if the person is in sales department, you can add the person to sales group so that the person will be able to collaborate with the sales staffs. You can add the person to maybe an application that the person needs to work, and you can also enable authentication and authorization for the person so that the person can work. Then you do usage monitoring. Then after usage monitoring, this is now when the person is leaving, you deprovision. So you can see the way the life cycle. So if there's something you pick from this class, pick this diagram. Always have it in your mind for life cycle management, and always know that in this life, people must always go. Nobody will stay somewhere forever. So that's just it. New user added, provisioning. Then the next is user leaves, the provisioning. So these are the key things here. So in provisioning a user, just like the way you configure grant access, you do authorization, authentication, authorization, you do usage monitoring. It's still the same thing that when a user is leaving, you revoke all the access, you revoke the authentication, then you remove the user from the organization. So there are many processes it takes to actually deprovision a user. There are some organizations that if users are leaving the organization, they convert the user to a shared mailbox so that they can preserve license for another user that is coming. So a shared mailbox doesn't need a license, and a shared mailbox can still receive email. So the whole idea is that if, for instance, now Tolu was working in my organization and she got a job in Canada and she jackpot to Canada, there are some customers that will still send Tolu email. Maybe some customers that like her. They like the way she serve. They like the way she do her work. Like she's excellent, she's good, she's detailed, she knows her job. They can say, okay, they want to still be sending Tolu email, even with the fact that maybe the service delivery team has already told the customer that this girl is no longer in this organization, but because they like her, they will still be sending an email. So for that, organization just delete user mailbox, because if you delete a user mailbox, email will not be able to enter that mailbox. And you don't know the level of customers Tolu knows. There are some customers that you may not even tell that Tolu have left the organization. So converting a mailbox to a shared mailbox, now it means that mails can still come in. But if you delete the user, mails will not come in. Once the person just send an email to say mailbox doesn't exist because it doesn't exist really, you have deleted it. So that's one thing we need to understand. So different organizations with the provisioning process. There are some organizations that once somebody leaves, immediately they deactivate the user account. They don't even care about what you have in your OneDrive. They delete everything. They delete your email. Everything is gone. But there are some organizations that, because of regulatory compliance, they don't just delete everything. They keep your data, because tomorrow somebody may want to make reference to your OneDrive so that they can go and check an SOW that you have worked on or a proposal that you have worked on. And if everything is gone, it means that they have lost it. So this is just life cycle management. It is the collection, it is the creation to deletion of accounts. So life starts when somebody is born. So in your new day, your first day in an organization, when you come, they create an account for you. You are happy. Yes, thank God, oh, I have an account. When you want to leave, the organization will be sad. Ah, this guy is leaving. Oh. But at the end of the day, life goes on. So that's just life cycle management and identity life cycle as a whole. We'll proceed. So the next thing we'll look at now is what is entitlement management. So most times I like to that's why I just put the definition here. So it shouldn't be like I'm saying words of my own, like I just went to go and fabricate words from the internet. So Microsoft Entitlement Management is an identity governance feature that enables organizations to manage their identity and access lifecycle at scale. look at it at scale by automating access request workflows, access assignments, reviews, and expiration. Employees in organization need access to various groups, applications, sites to perform their jobs. If somebody comes into an organization now, there are things the person needs to perform his or her job. If, for instance, you employ me to an organization and I'm in technical, you did not add me to technical group, how will I know my team members? If you did not give me access to technical SharePoint site, how will I see documents that I need to work on in case I have similar things I want to work on? How will I see all those things? So that's one use case of managing entitlements. So now we look at employees in organization need access to various groups, application and site to perform their job. So managing access is challenging as requirements change, new applications are added or users need additional access right. So these scenarios get more complicated when you collaborate with people outside. Imagine you have people outside the organization that are working with you. Maybe they are working on a Power Platform project. They are building an application for your organization and you create an account for them. You know that when they finish their project, automatically you are supposed to delete their accounts and revoke all their access. But because we are very busy, we may even forget that we even give an organization access. And after like a while, you can still even sign in. Imagine when you are done with your project too. So that is where entitlement management comes in. So it helps you manage access to groups, application, and SharePoint online sites for both internal users and users outside the organization. For internal users now, for instance, one example of entitlement management is this. You know that if you are familiar with privilege identity management, if for instance now you want to activate any role, maybe SharePoint admin or Exchange administrator, it expires within a time frame. It could be 8 hours, it could be 5 hours, depending on what was configured from the back end. So once you activate it, 5 hours time, the rules automatically deactivate. And once the rule deactivate, you need to go and activate again. So the way this one is now is more or less like configuring expiration for access. Okay, for instance, you're an external user, your project is 3 months, and after 3 months you are done, you leave my environment. You know, for instance now, Femi now might be the one that is in charge of that tax that, okay, after 3 months, let's delete the account. What if maybe that week Femi is on leave? Maybe that week was the week he got married. And when he came back, because of the celebration of marriage, he forgot that he was supposed to do that. And he did not even go and check his task. He's just carried away because of the new life that he has just entered automatically. So what that means is that those external people still have access. They still have access to your environment. They can still do what they want to do, which in security terms, it is not good because in security, you trust nobody. You always verify. Let's put that at the back of our mind. So all these are also zero trust tools because if you manage entitlement very well, you will limit access to groups, to applications, to SharePoint online site that people don't even need to access. Let's look at why it is important. So it is important because users may not know what access they need or how to get it. Imagine maybe for instance, I use myself as an organization. I just got employed. How will I know what I need? The only thing I know is that if I'm an Exchange administrator, I know that I need Exchange admin so that I can manage Exchange online. But that's not the only thing I need. I still need other things. I need access to group. I need to be added to the organization internal group. I need to be added to a SharePoint site that my team is actually using. I need all those things. So user may hold on to the access longer than they need it. This one is very key. It's very, very common. Most times, if you make somebody a leader in maybe not even, let me even say, let's even bring it low to the lowest level in church. You make somebody a leader. Do you know that if you remove that person from that position, for that person to leave that position, it will be very hard. Like the person would be like, it's his father's work. Like he doesn't want to live there. You understand? Then talk more of organization, talk more of people. You give somebody access to maybe a space to work. After the access is supposed to expire, the person will not want to live there. He wants to be there. So that is why sometimes they may do it knowingly or unknowingly. So that is why it's very important to manage entitlements because if you give people something to work on, if you don't control them, the way they assess it and all, they might stay there for a very long time because users may hold on to that access longer than they need it. And because of that, entitlement management is key. So we can see why entitlement management is important. One, users may not know what access they need and how to get it. This is just like a new person that just got into an organization that is naive, that wants to work, that is looking for, who will I meet? You know, all those kind of feeling now. Like when you get to an organization, you won't even know your colleague. You will just be like, will I survive in this company? Like, are you sure I can cope? Are you sure maybe they have started throwing you work like this? So things like that. It is important you know all these things. Entitlement management is good because with that, once somebody comes into the organization, they don't have that problem. They get the access they need. They don't need to be doing all those things. And when we go to the lab, I'm going to explain how entitlement management solves this problem. So there are some important terms we need to know. So some of those terms are resource, policy, access package, and catalog. So let me start with resource. Resource now, just like we know, resource is an asset, such as Microsoft 365 Group. It is a resource. If, for instance, now I'm new to an organization, there are some resource I need. Example of resource that I need is Microsoft 365 Group. So Microsoft 365 Group now that I belong to depends on the team that I'm working with. If I'm working with SharePoint, it means that I will be in SharePoint Microsoft 365 Group so that I can collaborate with my fellow guys in SharePoint so that we can chat. I can ask them questions. I just joined the organization. How is life? Are you sure the work is hard? Are you sure I can cope? Things like that. Then the next is security group. Security group now is used for permissions, like we know. Instead of you to be assigning permissions to one person, you can just assign the permission to a security group so that everybody that is a member of that security group automatically have access to that permissions. Then the next one is an application. Just like the application we're talking about now is enterprise apps. Those enterprise apps now, they are resources. Then aside enterprise app, Exchange Online, OneDrive, SharePoint, they are also part of applications or SharePoint online sites. So SharePoint online site too is very important because we know that there are some organizations that have collaboration sites. They have different hub sites where people can go there, get informations. At the end of the day, SharePoint now is going crazy because you can even create SharePoint agents. So they need access to SharePoint online site. So with a rule that a user can be granted permission to. So these are resources. A rule that a user can be granted permission to is a resource. So Microsoft 365 Group is a resource. So I just want us to understand this because these are the terms we'll be using throughout this class. So a policy. So policies now is a set of rules that define the access lifecycle, such as how users get access. You see now, we have not even gone far, but we are getting answers to what we just left. How users get access, who can approve it? So who can approve it now? This person can be the manager, can be the CEO. How long the user have access through an assignment. A policy is linked to an access package. For example, an access package could have two policies, one for employees to request access and a second for external users to request access. So what it means is that if your organization is working on entitlement management, if an external person wants to come and do anything in your organization, they need to request for access and somebody needs to approve based on the policy you created. Even internal users, that was why I use PIM as an example. If you want to do some administrative tasks, like you want to work on Exchange, you can go and request Exchange Online admin. So once you request for Exchange Online admin, they can give you access to that rule for like 5 hours. Then after 5 hours, the rule get deactivated. If you need it, you have to go and activate it again. So the same thing with this policy now. It gives you access to a particular space or a particular resource. So this access package now could be that they are giving you access to a Microsoft 365 group. Maybe for like, let's say they want to give you access to that group for 1 week. So after 1 week, you leave the group. Or they want to give you access to a SharePoint online site. Maybe you are a consultant, the organization employ you so that you should build a SharePoint site for them. So with this policy here, they can create a policy for you to request access to the SharePoint site, and they can also create a policy for you to be removed after a particular period from that site. So long as your work is done, go. We don't need you. That's life. So we have access package. So access package is a bundle of resource that a team or project needs and that is governed with policies. An access package is always contained in a catalog. So when we start working, we are going to understand all this because we are going to do a demonstration. A new access package is created for a scenario in which user needs to request access. So this access package, just like for instance, you want to maybe do Netflix. Netflix has a lot of package. Like we have the one for Premier League. If you want to watch in Premier League, we have the one for Nigerian film. For those of us, people like me that like watching Hollywood movies, they have package for us that we can be watching. Then if you want to be watching it on your phone, they have package for you. If you want to be watching it on tablets, they have package for you. So access package now contains those packages, those resources that a user needs. Then once you put them in that package, then from there, once the user needs it, he have access to what he wants. If it's SharePoint and all is there, they can just go and request for it. So catalog now is a container of related resources and access packages. So this catalog is supposed to even come before all this because catalog now contains resources and access packages. So it's only policies now that is not inside packages. But you see, that means if you want to create policy, if you want to create resources, if you want to create access package, you need to create a catalog first. Once you create a catalog, from that catalog, that is when you will now create a resource and you now create an access package. So catalog owner can add resources they own to the catalog. If, for instance, I'm creating a catalog and I'm adding a Microsoft Teams group, I'm adding a security group, you get. So I can decide to add resources to that catalog because I'm the one creating it. So those are just the things we need to know. So this is what we do. This is what we have. So if you, maybe we can just do like 2 minutes. So we can just take some water. So if you want to drink water, you can just take water. Let's just take water because I feel like at least let's just have a little break. So we can just take water. So let's just take water. So on your own position there, you can just take water, just stretch your legs. I don't have water close to me, but maybe I can just get one. So just 5 minutes. So once is 4:40 Nigerian time, we'll continue. So let's just stretch ourselves for 5 minutes. Okay. So I can see that Jennifer, your hand is raised. Sorry. I'm sharing my screen, so I'm not looking at this particular part. So you can ask your question, Jenny, if you still have it.
Okay, yeah, please. Yes, I do. I want to really understand this catalog, access package, policy, and resource. Is it that in terms of entitlements, before you will create an access package, you have to create a catalog?
Yeah, you have to create a catalog. So I know it can be confusing. So that was why I was like, during the demo, I'm going to show us if you want to create an access package. So this can come in an interview. Maybe they can ask you, how do you manage the provisioning and provisioning of users? So you can tell them that first you create a catalog. So once you create a catalog, in that catalog, you you will now be able to create related resources. You can now go further by saying that, okay, resources like M365 group and all will be added to the catalog, just like you add packages, subscriptions. Then after that, you will now create the access, what was that access package? So this access package now is more or less like where you define the access, when the access will expire, when everything will end. You understand all those stuff? That is where you can maybe give them access to the catalog and all. So basically, access package now is what you use to govern everything. So that is why from the definition of access package, it is a bundle of resource that a team or project needs that is governed with policy. So this is the way it is. So this catalog now is what you need to create access package and resources. So what powers your access package is the policy you create, because it is the policy that defines the access lifecycle, such as how user gets access, who can approve it, how long the user have access. So these are the things that, so all of them, if you look at them, they are working hand in hand. But the only thing that is confusing, which I appreciate the fact that you asked, because it's a very good thing to ask questions when you need clarity. So this catalog now, because today, even before I jump up to this section, I was trying to create access package. So I now discovered that I must create a catalog first, which during the demo, I'm going to throw more light. I'm going to explain it. So don't worry. And we'll still even break all these things down further. It's not as if we'll just stop here like this. We'll still break them down. And remember, this we are 40 minutes and we have lab to do. So please, let's continue. Yeah, I hope we have gotten water. Have we gotten water to take? It's good when you're doing training that you stretch your legs. It helps you. It helps you so that
Yes, thank you.
you don't get overwhelmed. Because this life, you need to do it JJ na small. So that's just it. Okay, let me continue. So now we'll be looking at access packages. We will now understand what access packages is. So these are example of access package. So what are access packages? And somebody raised hand. Have you bring your hand down or you still want to ask question?
No, sorry, please. I have one more question. So before you have to create an access package and a resource, you have to create a catalog. Yes, I know. And then policy now is linked to the access package. What about the resource?
The resource is also linked to the catalog. So once we create it, you are going to see it because catalog now contains the access packages and the resource that will be there. So the reason, if I just go to the lab now to show you, I won't be able to finish all these things. So that's why I want to finish it. So once I'm done with it, we'll now go to the lab. Then you will now see where all these things relate, how they relate. Is that fine?
Okay. Sorry, it's
Okay.
about the policy I'm asking of. Is the policy linked to the resource or just the access package?
It's linked to the access package itself. That's what the policy is linked to. Because
Okay,
if you
thank
come
you
here
very
now,
much.
from this definition here, policy are set of rules that define access lifecycle, such as how users get access, who can approve it, how long users have access through an assignment. A policy is linked to an access package. For example, an access package could have two policies, one for employees requesting access, and second for external users requesting access. So it is linked to the access package. So let's look at it. So access package now, we can see from here, with access package is a bundle of resources with the access a user needs to work on a project or to do their tasks. Let's have that at the back of our mind. An access package is a bundle of resources with access a user needs to work on a project or do their tasks. With access package, you can manage membership of Microsoft Entra Security Group. You can manage membership of M365 groups, because if you don't have the ability to manage the membership, there's no way you can remove somebody when it is time for the person to leave. Assignment to Microsoft Entra Enterprise apps, including software as a service SaaS applications and custom integrated applications that support federation, single sign-on, or provisioning, and also membership of a SharePoint site. So with access package, you can manage all this. You can manage membership of Microsoft Entra Group. Those are part of the things you can do with access package. You can manage membership of Microsoft 365 group and teams. You can manage assignments to Microsoft Entra Enterprise application, including software as a service and all. So we are going to see all that. So all these things that we are trying to explain and all. So once you get a job and you start doing all these things, you will see that you will now be remembering that, oh, this was what this guy was telling me. Or maybe when you are involved in a project, maybe you give yourself a project and you are doing it, you will now understand them. So that's just one of the things that we need. So as it is now, this is our access package. So there is a policy included in the access package with rules for who can access the package. So I can create a package that involves a specific SharePoint site, a specific Microsoft Entra ID application that have access to a specific M365 group and that have access to a specific team group. So automatically what it means is that anybody I know need all this package, I'll just give the person access to the package. So an access package now in a high level, an access package is a bundle of resources with access a user needs to work on a project and do the attacks. So that's what an access package is. You can control access to other resources that rely upon Microsoft Entra Security Group. So an access package now is very important. So you can provide the following: licenses for Microsoft 365 by using a Microsoft Entra Security Group, access to manage Azure resources by using Microsoft Entra Security Group, access to Microsoft Entra rules by using groups assigned to Microsoft Entra ID. So you can, if for instance, somebody wants to work in your organization, so there are some rules that you need to add the person to. So with access package, you can create policies that can manage access to Microsoft Entra rules. You can create a policy that manage access to Azure resources by using Microsoft Entra Security Group. So these are just access packages. So access packages, what are access package? What can I manage with access package? So we can see what access package is. An access package is a list of resources such as group, apps, and sites, along with rules a user needs for those resources. You can't give if you are giving somebody access to a SharePoint site, it's that you give the person maybe a visitor, a site admin, or an owner. So that's where rules comes in. You need to give the person a rule. If you are giving somebody site to Entra, you need to give the person a rule. Okay, maybe the person they are identity people. They want to build your identity plan. They want to create an identity solution for you. You give them rules that they need. You can give them global admin. You can give them Entra ID admin. As the case may be, you can use this privilege and create a custom rule for them. So now another thing we need to understand is, when should I use access package? So it is very important. You need to know when to use access package. So you use access package for time limited access. Maybe for instance, you have a project and the project is just 3 months. You need access package so that you can actually revoke access when access is not needed for time limited access. So access package do not replace other mechanisms for access assignments. They are most appropriate in situations such as this. Maybe for instance, an employee needs time for access for a particular task. For example, user group based licensing and dynamic groups to ensure all employees have Exchange Online mailbox. So sometimes an employee might need limited time access, maybe to a SharePoint site. You can just assign the person access and ask the person, how many days do you need it? 4 days. You can even use it for KPI. You can just tell the person that, okay, I'm giving you access for 4 days. After these 4 days, if you are not done, that means you're not doing your job well. So those are the things that you can use access package for limited access. So the next one is manager approval and delegated role identity. Governance is very important, because if there's no governance, even in Lagos here, they are telling people to follow one way. They are crazy. They feel that they own the town. They will just go and pass one way. If there is no LASMA to be stopping people, people will just be doing things they like. So that's why governance is very important, and manager approval is very important, because if you allow people to just do things they like without approval, or more, a lot of things will spoil. That means you are not following least privilege and Microsoft Zero Trust. So as it is, Manager approval is very important because access that requires approval of an employee manager is very important. There are some access that before you give somebody, the manager needs to be aware of so that the person can be guided on what not to do and what to do. So that is where governance is. Because in Lagos now, if there's no last man to stop people passing one way, they will pass one way. So although sometimes if they are fixing roads, there can be approval that okay, pass, don't worry, because they are fixing the road. You can pass this road even if it's one way. So that is where all this thing comes in. So the next is managing access without IT involvement. So you can give people access without IT being involved. We all know that IT guys now, like our job is increasing every day because work choke. You see a lot of IT guys like me, I don't even have time. Sometimes they will call me, people, I have a lot of things I need to work on. I have a lot of things I need to learn because IT is all about learning. Like, you go learn. Oh. If you are coming into IT, just know that you are entering into another school, like a university. The way you go to university, an IT own, it doesn't end because you will study. Even if you have your own company, you will read because if you don't read, other companies will just that maybe they are CEO, they are well, doing well and all. They will come and be taking all your customers. Because as things is coming up, you need to like study. So that's IT for you. So IT guys don't have access. So sometimes you might need to give people access without even IT involvement so that IT people can rest. So as it is, that is where this one comes in, access package. So cross-organization collaboration. Let's say, for instance, remember, we can use access package not just only for internal, but for external people. So if you have an external organization that is working with your company and they want to work with you, you can use access package to give them access to your resources, to what you have. So that's just an example of access package and how it is. So this is when should I use access package? Time limited access, just like PIM, privilege identity management. So I'm bringing all these things back so that we'll be remembering what we have been taught. So the next is, how do I control who gets access? You can see here, this is a resource. This is a resources. Like we explained the other time, a resource could be a SharePoint site, a group, and all. So this is the resource now. Maybe for instance, this whole thing here is my directory. This is my directory completely. And in my directory, I have this catalog. So inside this catalog now, remember, we made mention that a catalog contains resources and access package. You can see here, we have this catalog here. And what is inside this catalog? We have group 1, group 2, and we have an enterprise application here, and we have a SharePoint site. Under the access package now, we have group 2 resource rule. So what this means is that I'm defining a rule here for access to group 2. Then this one now, there's an internal user policy here that is inside this access package. Remember, we're saying that access policy lives inside access package. Then the second access package now, group 1 resource role. So we have app 1 resource role. We have site 2 resource role. Then we have different policies together with it. Then under it we have access package manager. So this access package manager now is a role for somebody that will be managing this particular catalog and all. So we can see here, this is an external user. I want to give the external user access to this package. So in this package now that is here, there are resources in this package, group 1, group 2, app 1, app 2. But these external users now, the only thing they have access to, they have access to group 1. And what I gave them there is resource role. So they only have access to a resource in this group. And app 1, they have a resource role. They only have access to an app in app 1. Then site 2, a SharePoint site. They have access to a site in site 2. Then there's now an internal user policy here and an external user policy. What this means is that this policy, I can assign it to both external users and internal users, just like this. These guys now here, they are sitting in this environment. Remember, this is your directory. This is your resource directory. Everything here belongs to your resource. This group 1 that is here, it is here. It was added to the catalog resources. Group 2 was here. It was added here. App 1 was here. It was added here. Then only site 2 was added here. Site 1 and Site 3 was not added. So these are requesters. So requesters are people that need access to those packages so that they can do their work, so that they can function as they deserve to function. So we have requester 1, requester 2, requester 3. So this requester 3 now, and these guys, we give them access to requester 1 and requester 2. We give them access to access package 1. What this means is that this requester 1 and requester 2 that are internal, they only have access to group 2 and internal user policy and the policy assigned to them is internal user policy. But this requester 3 now have access to group 1, app 1, site 2, internal user policy, and external user policy. So you see, then these external guys now that are in their own directory, this is the one I gave them access to from this particular illustration here. So how do I control get access? This is how you can control get access. You first of all create the resource of what you want to give access to. If you want to give access to a SharePoint site, or you want to give access to maybe the organization now, you want to give them access to Power Platform Admin Center. You can just create a group, or once you create a group, you give them access to Power Platform, because Power Platform is used to build business applications. You want them to come and automate everything in your organization. Give them access to Power Platform so that they can do that. So that's just how all these things work. So now we are going to go to the next, which is catalog. We are going to define catalog. So you are going to see how catalog work and how it is being used. So now let's look at what catalog is. So this is Microsoft Entra ID Admin Center. So if you sign into Microsoft Entra ID Admin Center, mind you, for you to have access to identity governance, you need Azure AD Premium P2 license. You need it to do identity governance. So those are the things that we need to have at the back of our mind. So you need Azure AD Premium P2 license to do identity governance. So from here now, once you go to identity governance in Entra ID, if you want to create a new catalog, you can just click on new catalog. So once you click on new catalog, before you even click on it, once you click on catalogs here, you will see the catalogs you have. This one now, one thing I like about Microsoft is Microsoft will tell you, give you a summary of what you have done, what you have. Here now, we have cart sales. The description is, use this catalog to assign resources for membership of the sales team. So anybody that is a member of the sales team, I will use this to assign resources to them. So it only have one access package. It has 5 resources and it is enabled. This one, which is cart sales team. This is a catalog for sales team resource. It only have one access packages and it has 4 resources. Enabled, yes. General, built-in catalog. So this one, all organizations have it. Microsoft automatically creates it for you to help you do your management. So from here now, we can see a catalog. So a catalog now, just like I explained earlier, it is a container of resources and access packages. So you can create a catalog when you want to group related resources and access packages. Whosoever creates the catalog becomes the first catalog owner. Mind you, whoever creates the catalog first becomes the catalog owner and can add additional catalog owners. So a question can be asked to you. If you are creating a catalog, who owns it? So the first person that creates the catalog is the owner. Then you as the owner, you can add other people as the owner. You can create it as a senior sysadmin. Then you can now add your manager as the catalog owner. So that's just it. So it's group related resources together. So with catalog, you can group related resources together. Just like an example of catalog is, you go to a restaurant, you go to let's say in Lagos here, you go to Boku supermarket. So if you go to Boku, they have different like space. They have where they sell groceries, they have where they sell beverage, they have where they sell bread. So if you go to bread catalog, you see different breads. So you can use the catalog to group resources. So bread now in this case is like a resource. And those groceries, we have different type of groceries. Like you can name them. So those are just things there. So this is just catalog creator is the default owner. Let's not forget, is the default owner. Okay. So we are going to be creating a catalog. So if you want to create a catalog, you log into Azure as a global administrator. Once you log into Azure as a global administrator, you open Microsoft Entra ID, then you select identity governance, then entitlement management. So we are going to see all this. I'm going to share this slide with us. So let's not worry. So this is the next, which is how do I add resources to a catalog? So I know some of us will be like, how do I add resource to a catalog? Once you create a catalog, from the catalog page, under manage, you see resources. From there, you can add any resource you want to add. If you want to add a SharePoint site, you can add it. If you want to add a Teams group, you can add it. If you want to add an application, you can add it. If you want to add sales group, you can add it. So this is just it. So when we get to the lab, we are going to add resources to our catalog. I'm going to show us how to add resources to our catalog. So the next is entitlement owners and processes. So we have different ways here that we can use all these. So these are entitlement owners and processes. So the first is there are several ways you can configure entitlement management for your organization. One, however, if you are just getting started, it is helpful to understand the common scenarios for administrators. So one of the common scenarios for administrators, catalog owner, and access package managers are delegates. So for delegates now, you can use administrator delegates. So for administrator now, under delegates, you can delegate management of resources to an administrators. Catalog creators, you can delegate management of resources to catalog creators. So all these things are things that with time we'll get to know. Let's not let them overwhelm us. So we have government's access to users and organization. So these are just entitlement owners and processes. So now, daily management, which is the day-to-day management, access package manager update the resources for a project. So all these rules, like the delegate rules, like the example of the delegate rules, let me just quickly see if I can drop them. Let me drop them on the chat so that we can actually see them. So that at least it won't be ambiguous for us. So later on your spare time, you can just go through the whole access package and the rules, but you don't really need all those ones for now. So now we are going to be doing a lab section. So we are going to be creating a catalog of resources in Microsoft Entra ID. So we're going to do that now. So let me just do that shortly. Let me share my other screen.
Sorry, please, can I say something?
Why not? You can talk. Yeah, ask question.
Yeah, it's not a question because I complained this last week, and then now you've sent something on the chat. After the class, I won't be able to locate the chat. Like, I won't be able to get access to the chats.
Okay, so my candid advice for you is that what you do is copy this and save on your notepad. You know that these teams now. Yeah, so you know that these teams now is created in this tenant, and for you to be able to have access to the chat, you need to be an internal user. So as an external user, once you leave the call, you won't have access to the chat. So the only way we can trash that is if maybe we create a Microsoft Teams for this bootcamp. Then we invite everybody to that team so you can collaborate and chat, which in the next bootcamp, by the special grace of God, we are going to do that. So we're going to create a Teams channel. In that Teams channel, if you want to log in, you will authenticate with your credentials. We will send code to you that you used to authenticate. So once you log in, you have access to that channel. In that safe, and then the recordings, you can always go there and watch them. So that's what we're going to put in the pipeline for the next bootcamp. So we're going to work on that. Thank you for that honest feedback and suggestion. It's well taken. So we'll work on it. I don't know if that's fair enough for you, or you is that fair enough?
Yeah, it's fair. Thank you very
We
much.
sincerely apologize. You know, as it is now, we are here to actually satisfy you people and actually give you people the best. We are trying our best to at least see that we give you guys the best and what you need to get started in your IT career, which is our core. Because that is the essence of community, to help people that actually want to learn so that they can learn. And we're trying our best to make that our focus. Okay. So now we are going to create an enterprise app here. So I'm going to sign in afresh because I know that most of us will be, how do I get here? How did I get here? So let it not be like I just jumped in and I did not really explain. That means I'm not a good teacher. I'm supposed to explain and everybody should understand. So let's see it this way. Entra. Entra. So Entra ID, you can go through Entra ID or you can go through Azure. But most times it's better you just go through Entra ID, because going through Azure is like you are going to Yaba. Instead of, you are going to Sabo Market and you are staying in Yaba. Instead of you to just take Keke to Sabo, you now want to go and follow Anthony and go and pass Third Mainland Bridge and now be coming to Sabo Market. No. It's better you just take Keke from Unilag Junction to Sabo Market. So those are the things. So with going through Azure, it's like you are going to Entra ID now. Instead of you to go to Entra ID direct, you want to first of all go to Azure. Then from Azure, you want to be searching for Entra. So I advise, if you're working on Entra ID, just search for Entra ID direct instead of going from Azure. You can do entra.microsoft.com. Let's see. Microsoft.com. Did I spell the Microsoft well? Because sometimes if you're on sections like this, you can maybe, nobody is 100%. Everybody have their own weakness. So at least this is already growing. So because I've already logged in before, so automatically I don't need to sign in again. I've already signed into this tenant, that's why. So if we come down now, down, we'll see identity governance here. So look, if you look at Entra ID is divided into all these segments. So this is Entra ID. This is identity protection. This is identity governance. This is verified ID. This is permission. This is global secure access. Then billing. Although this billing now, you can't manage it from here. You need to go to M365 Admin Center to manage it. So this is just, if I collapse Entra now, that's where you see users, groups, devices, app reg, rules, delegated admin partners, domain service. So some of all these things, they are new. Like this one now, it was just added. We have different things here: custom security attributes, certificate authorities, external identities, cross-tenant synchronization, Entra ID Connect, and monitoring and health. But basically, our business today is on identity governance. So we'll collapse identity governance. Then from identity governance, we have entitlement management, access review, privilege identity management, lifecycle workflows. So this privilege identity management, now we have talked about it before. That one is for maybe you want to assign role to a user for a particular time frame. So once that time elapses, the permission is gone. That is where you use privilege identity management. So let's look at our agenda for today, which is entitlement management. So let's click on entitlement management. So this is entitlement management. What's your name again? This lady, that Jennifer. I know Jennifer, you just want to know how we set all these things. This is where we are now. So once you click on entitlement management, you can see different settings here. You can see users, you can review common use case of users. You can see external user lifecycle. You can see group membership. You can create an access package for group membership. You can create delegated group management directly for business. So some of all these scenarios, let me not lie, it's not everything I've tried. It's not everything I've tried. But like I tell us, IT is a learning curve for everybody. Everybody is learning in IT. No, anybody that come and tell you that they know everything, it's not true. If you know one thing today, you discover that there are a lot of things that you need to go and learn. So as an IT person, you need to have learning culture. Try to develop an habit of learning, that you need to learn without anybody motivating you, because it's not every time that people will motivate you. So you need to learn on your own. Learn how to like, I don't even need anybody's motivation, because if you're waiting for people to come and motivate you, this year people are very busy. Nobody have that time to be motivating anybody. So that's why you need to motivate yourself. Motivate yourself for. So now we have catalog. Under catalog here, like I explained the other time, general is built in. Microsoft automatically creates it for you. You can see in this built-in catalog, no access package, no resource. So now let's log in, let's create a new access package from here. So if I click on new, I can give the access package a name. Let's see security bootcamp. Security, I didn't spell this bootcamp well though. I need to work on my spelling. So security bootcamp access package. Maybe for instance now, like the suggestion someone just gave that after the group, you don't always see access to the stuff. We can even create a group package for the bootcamp. If it's 3 months, we create an entry group, then we use this access package to give people access. So now the description could be, it's good you add description when you are doing anything, because if you don't add description, people will not know why you created it. And like I always say, you won't stay in anywhere forever. So if you put description, you are helping the person coming after you so that the person will understand what you did. So let's take that as the back of our mind. So let's put description in anything we are doing. So security bootcamp access package. Let me remove this access package. It's a catalog. Security bootcamp permission catalog. So now, this catalog was created to give our dear mentees access to the Teams group for 3 months so that they can collaborate, and have access to meeting chats after every meetings. So I will now come down. I will now say, maybe I will just say this catalog, permission, catalog permission will expire in 3 months' time. 3 months' time. Let me now explain further. Because the bootcamp is a 3 months bootcamp. You see the way I gave the description. This catalog was created to give our dear mentees access to the Teams group for 3 months so that they can collaborate and have access to meeting chat. So sometimes it's good after typing anything, you proofread so that in case if there's any mistake, because you can always correct it. Group chat after every meetings. This catalog permission will expire in 3 months' time. 3 months time. In 3 months' time. Because the bootcamp is a 3 months bootcamp. So those are the things that we need to understand. So now here, if I don't want to enable it, I can say no. You see, when I say no, this one disappeared. So if I say yes, I can now decide enabled for external users. Who can tell me if I should check the box for external users or I shouldn't check it with the scope of why I want to create this bootcamp? Can anybody tell me? You can just unmute and tell me the right option I should pick for external users. Should I say yes or no here? Can somebody tell me?
No.
I should say no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
Okay,
The
the
reason for
person that
saying no is because we don't want external users to have access to the catalog that we just created. It's just for the bootcamp mentees only.
okay, I like that feedback. Okay, the person that said yes, Who said yes? Can you give the reason why you said yes?
Because we are all external users. So you're just giving us the privilege to use the team's tenant for you invite all of us as external user. So we will have access to the teams for the limited period of time.
Okay, so actually, both of you are correct. Both of you are correct. If the first person that said that, since the access package is just for internal, then you shouldn't give access to external. So the second person that gave his own point that it has to be an external and it has to be enabled for external because the mentees doesn't have access. So for the scope of this group, it's supposed to be yes. Why? Because the mentees are external guys. They are not in this organization. So one thing, both of you are correct, but depend on the use case and depend on the scenario. So that is why, as an identity person, as a cloud engineer, anything you are, you need to understand the client's scenario first. Clients can tell you, I want to create a catalog. I want my customers to be using it. And you go and create it, and you did not allow this. That means external people cannot use it. It's only internal. So those are the things we need
Thank
to
you for
understand.
clarifying. I created this scenario in my head that we are already members of the tenants by default. So that's why I said no.
Yes.
But now I get
I
it better.
understand.
Thank you.
I understand. Yeah, that was why I said both of you are correct. So depending on the scenario, if for instance the mentees are already members of the organization, there's no need. But because we are external guys, that's why. So let me just click on create. So once I create it now, we'll see our access package will be created. So now we now have 3: security bootcamp, permission catalog, and finance and the likes. So please let's mute our mic. Let's mute our mic, please. Mute your mic. So now I've clicked on the catalog. I've clicked on the catalog. So let's just wait for it to load. Then we see the permissions that we can give from there. I hope network doesn't do anyhow. Okay. Let me refresh. Okay. So now I want to select the access package I created, right? So we are still on identity governance under entitlement management. We can see what we have for entitlement management. We're going to cover all this. We are going to see how we can connect to another organization. Maybe I can connect to Femi's tenants today. So we'll see all that in action today. So this network, let me switch my network because it's like MTN. They have started today. Let me switch because we don't have time to not be. Okay. Can you still see my screen? Okay. If you can see my screen, please just give me a thumbs up or you can. Okay, thank you. Kola Wale, you are always very active with thumbs up. Well done. I appreciate you. Okay, so now we are in the catalog page now. We want to select our catalogs now. So if I want to select the catalog, I'll click on this one we created. This security bootcamp catalog. So once I click on it, we can see those things we're talking about. So in a catalog, you can create a resource here. So you can see how you can add a resource to a catalog and you can add access packages to a catalog. So we are going to be creating a resource and I'm going to be adding a package. So remember, this is security bootcamp permission catalog. So before we do this, we'll click on, let me even create a group for security bootcamp so that it will not be as if we're actually just doing things. So I'll create a group for security bootcamp. I'll click on new group. The role of the group, I'll change the group to M365 because it's for collaboration. Then I'll call it Security Bootcamp Group. Security, where's the boot again? Security Bootcamp Group. So this email, I can leave it this way. Group description. This group is for bootcamp purpose. So anybody that come here automatically know that this group is for bootcamp. So Microsoft Entra rules can be assigned. No, I don't want to assign Microsoft Entra. Membership type assigned. It can be assigned. Sensitivity label. Do I want to apply sensitivity label to this group? No, let me not go too far to be applying sensitivity label. So you click on create. So once you create it, the group has been created successfully. Come to all groups. You see your security community group. Where is it again, Seth? Security Bootcamp group. So now I will now come down now to identity governance again, because I've already have my group that I want to give you access to. I'll come to Entitlement Management here. Then click on catalog. Since we already have our catalog, I'll click on Security Bootcamp catalog. Then I'll come to resources here. Then under the resources, I'll click on add. So once I click on add, I have opportunity to add groups and teams, application, SharePoint sites, Microsoft Entra role, custom data provided, resource. So I'm going to add the first, which is for, let's say, group. So I'll click on group and teams. So here now I can select the security group. Yeah. So you can see here, you cannot add a synced group. So this group was synced from on-prem. So they say directory sync objects are not allowed. So those are the things that you need to take note of during exam. They can ask you that, can you add a group that is synced from on-prem to a catalog? No, you can't. So this is security group bootcamp group, the one we created. I want to add it. Select. Let's say, for instance, now I also want to add application because I want you people to have access to our LMS, learning management system. Maybe we have a learning management app that we use. I want to add you people. I'll click on add apps. So once I click on add apps, it takes me to my enterprise applications page. So if there's any application that you people will need to do your work effectively, maybe you need HR solution because you may need to be doing your leave. You want to go for leave and you want to apply for salary increments. You can use this thing to apply for that. So if I want to add Adobe Document Cloud, because I know that you'll be using Adobe Reader for your work, I'll select it. So it means that these are the resources now I'm adding. I added a group to the, that means anybody that have access to this package now automatically belongs to this group. Adobe, the person have access to this app. So now the next is SharePoint site. You can also add a SharePoint site. So if you have a SharePoint site, you can put the SharePoint site URL here if it doesn't display. So I have some SharePoint site here. Let's say, for instance, I want to be liberal. So I want to give the security guys access to my communication site, my organization communication site, so that at least they can see what's happening in the organization. I can just come here and give them access here and say select. So these are resources now that I'm adding to this catalog. If I want to add a rule, maybe the mentees are disturbing me. I want to be creating things. I want to be doing things too. I want to learn. You can see here, this one requires Microsoft Entra ID governance license to get started. I don't have Microsoft Entra ID governance license. That's why they stopped me here. Bah, guy, what do you think you want to do? This is an example of governance. If they did not stop me here, I can just go ahead and create. Tomorrow night, if they send me billing, I will say, when did I pay for this? Which day? You people should come and refund my money. That's what they are telling me here now. See. So let's take note. To add Microsoft Entra rules to an app catalog, you need a Microsoft Entra ID governance license. This can help you in consultation calls. If you're on a consultation call with a client and the client is interested in entitlement management, as a consultant, you should be 10 times ahead of your clients. So you tell them that if you want to do Entra ID rules assignments, you need Microsoft Entra ID governance license to get started. So those are the things you put in mind. So let me close this since I cannot add that one. So this one, let's not even go there. It's even still in preview. So don't even near here because custom data provided. These are for people that really know data very well. Me, I'm not a data guru. So I won't near there. So I'll just click on add. So I've added it. So we'll just wait for it to add. So it has added successfully. So these are the resources that I have. Now let's go to, now we have not even gotten to access package, but let me just show us how we can, because access package, time is still coming for access package. So let me click on access package. Let's see. So for access package now, if you click
I
on
have a
new,
question.
yeah, ask your question, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, so in a situation when you've created the resources, then probably your manager now called again to tell you you should add one more application to the resources you've already created. How do you go about it?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very curious question and a very good question. I appreciate that question. Thank you. So let me close this guy. So if you want to do that, you come back to catalogs here. You know, everything is inside the catalog. If, for instance, you want you to update resources in the security bootcamp permission catalog, you click on it. Then from the catalog here, you can see it even gave me content. One group and teams, two apps, one SharePoint site. So if, for instance, the guy now say, come, go and add another app. All I just need to do is to come here, resources. From resources, add resources, application. I can add other apps. Maybe I want to add admin droid. I'll add admin droid. If I want to add bit titan, I add bit titan. If I want to add exclaimer cloud, I add exclaimer cloud. If I want to add Sophos, this is for security, I add it, select. You see all those things are now here. You click on add when you are done. And that's all. That's how you can add more apps. If they say you should add SharePoint site, you just do the same thing. Come here, add SharePoint site, you add it. So anything you want to add, it's always customizable. And like the other time I was asking, should we do yes? Should we do no for external users? So if you click on edit here, you can always come back and tweak it. In case maybe when you were doing it, you forgot. You can, maybe you have a toxic manager that if you forget something, now allow, they will shout at you. You can always come back and always say no here. If maybe you are supposed to, maybe you made mistake, you can always come back and correct yourself before you go and now report yourself. Then now check it like, Tolu, why will you do this? Why? Things like that. So you have to know that there are some things you can remedy. So as it is now, you can see the apps have increased. 6, SPU 1, groups and teams 1. So now let's go to access package. So we can create an access package. So for access package now, if we want to create an access package, remember, like the question Jenny asked, from resources, from catalog, that's where you can create resource and you can create packages. So I want to create a package now, new package. Let me see mentees package. Then description. This package contains resource roles, request, and lifecycle. So this is it. So let me remove the off. I mistakenly typed 2 off. So this package contains resource roles, request, and lifecycle management of mentees in our environment. You put your full stop there. If you like, it's not compulsory. So now that we are done with the name and description, like I made mention before, so it's good you always put a description so that the person coming after you will understand what you did, even if you are not there. You don't need to be explaining all the time because you may not even have time to be doing all that. So now you can now create resource roles. Remember, we added teams, we added applications, we added SharePoint sites. This one now we can't do it because we don't have the money for it. So let me create roles for group teams. So we already have our Bootcamp here. So if I come here now, I won't see because it's the only group you add from the resources that you will see when you are creating a package under a catalog. So let me select these guys and click on select. So now let's wait. It should show. So now they have access to this particular group already. So this resource roles, we don't even need to do anything from here because if you click on it, the group you are giving them access to, it will show. It will show here. So let me just delete the second one I added. So now I've given them access already. Please mute your mic. You are just joining the meeting. So I'm giving them access to this security group from the resources. So if I want to give them role now, I can either give them an owner or a member. So what do I do? Should I give them owner or member? It's not good you give somebody owner, you give them member. Always be strict with your permission. Nobody should just come and just claim your stuff from you. Give them member first. So we can see how we did it. So we already created resources inside the catalog. Then when we now came here to resource, we're now able to see the resources that we have already created, and we can now give them access to those resources. If I click on application, the same thing. I'm going to see the application I added. I won't see nothing more than that. So from here, these are the whole application I added. If I want to give them permission for Adobe, for HR solution, and admin droid, I'll just select it. Maybe Sophos too. I'll select it. So we'll wait, it will show. So now we can now see those applications. Now, if I select it, default access, I can give them for application, you can only give access to it. So it's for group and teams that you can give either a owner or a member, because you know that normally if you are creating a group in M365, it's either you are a member or you are a owner. So those are the things. So for SharePoint sites, you select the site, then you click on select. Let's give them access to that site. So for SharePoint now, we can see that we have different options. You can give them site members, site owner, site visitors. So for the mentees down, you guys are supposed to be site visitors because you guys are just visiting. Because I'm even a nice guy, that is why I'm giving you access to this place. If not, I'm not supposed to. Let's say, for instance, now you want to give them role. Had it been I have that identity governance, I would have just assigned them a role, maybe global admin or SharePoint admin. So this is where you do it. But because I did not have it, I will leave that one. So I will go next to requestor. So the requestor now, this is where you now put people that can have access. So who can get access? For users, this now you can see here, for users, service principal, agents, identities in your directory. Allow users group and service principal and agent identity in your directory to get access to this package. So if you click on this now, it means you can allow users in your organization. You can see in your directory. This one now, you can't add people outside the directory. So once you select it, you can now select a scope. So from here now, you can say specific users and groups. So if you say specific users and group, you will now select the group that you want to add. So I can just click on the group here and add our mentees group, the one we just created. So that means anybody that is a member of that group automatically have access to this package. Where is that group again? Oh, okay. So anybody in this group now. So what it means is that, scope, if you are defining scope, is like who are you applying the policy to? So if I say all members, excluding guests, that means all members of my organization will have access to this package, but I don't want it to be like that. I only want security bootcamp group to have access because I'm creating this package for my DMNTs so that they will have access to it. So if for users not in your directory, if for instance, I'm creating this package for external users, I'll do this one. But this normally now, I'm just giving an example as a viewpoint in my organization. But ideally, you are not in my organization. So let me correct myself. For users not in your organization, because for now, you guys are not in my organization. So let's be frank. But if you are creating that package for users in your organization, then you go with this first option. So for users not in your organization, you select specific scope. So specific connected organization, you can say specific connected organization. So as it is now, if I select specific connected organization, that means I need to add the organization directory here, just like business to business collaboration. Maybe I want to collaborate with Femi. I want to do business with Femi's company, and I want them to give them rights to SharePoint site and to a role. I can do business to business collaboration. So I will add directories here. So I can add Femi. So here now, you can search by domain, external domain. So let me add, which domain will I add now? Who can give me his or her domain so I can search, please? Any volunteer?
Add my own domain, FAJ.
Just drop it on the chat so that
Okay,
I don't
chat, yeah.
I don't misspell.
Okay.
So we can see different options here. You can see all users, all connected organization, any new external user, anybody, but it's not good though. Anything, any is very bad in terms of security. Let's avoid any is not good because it means you are giving anybody, and it's not best practice. So any external user key, it's not good though. So let me add this one. So we can see here, no connected organization exists with this domain. Select plus to add connected organization. So once I select plus, it now takes me to the settings to add an organization. So I will say Femi Consultancy. And Co. Or maybe Femi Consultancy and Sons. So description. This so the description now that we give is this setting enables me to add Femi's company to my org so that they can have access to apps and Teams chats. So this is what I want to do here. So the state, you can put configured, you can put proposed. So you use configured if you want to configure it now. Use proposed, maybe if you want to just propose it, but you don't want to do it for the meantime like a proposer. So we use configured. So for next, we'll now add the directory. So if I click on add, that's where I will now put Femi's domain now. So let me paste it here and click on select. So now, as it is now, let me see. Please add at least one directory. Let me see. Amala, please, right? So it's Amala, please. Omo. We'll chop Amala. Okay, now let me select it. I'm coming. Let me see. It's like I'm not adding it well. So this is nice. The concept makes sense. So I've already added it. You see, I have to click on add. Then I click on select. So you can see now I've added Amala Place directory. So with his domain name, I automatically got it. This is business to business. I'll click on next to sponsor. Do I have any sponsor? Let me just say, let me leave this one. If you have an internal sponsor, maybe for instance, in Femi's organization now, I have some people that, maybe the people that are actually serving as the project managers, the CEO, I can add them. So I'll just do next to review and create. So I didn't add internal sponsor and external sponsor. is okay for now. So we'll just do adding. So now that we have successfully added an organization to our tenants, then we can now come here. You can see we are still in the new access package page. We are not done because I want to add specific connected organization. That was why Microsoft took me to the process of adding a connected organization, which is still part of what we are going to talk about in the class. And thank God we have even done the demo. So I will just wrap up the slide and we'll be done. So who can request access? You can say admin or self. Admin by default can request access. If you do self now, that means anybody that is in Femi's organization. So long because Femi's organization is connected to my organization, once they get into my organization as external users, they have access to this package. They can just go there, request access, and do what they want to do. So I'm putting self there. So require approval. So you can say yes. So it is best you require approval for all this because if you don't, Tolu, don't worry, I'll get to you. So if you don't require approval for this, that means you are giving anybody access. Just go ahead. And you know approval is better. So it's better people get approval. So require requestor justification. Yes, they should provide justification. How many stages? One. You can do 3 stage. You can do 3 stage because sometimes it's good to make things hard for people. But if you make it easy, they won't value it most times. So you can add a fallback. They want us to add an external sponsor. So let me add a fallback since I don't have an external sponsor there. So let me add someone here that at least has a very good position that can actually handle it. So let me give Chris Green that external sponsor. So you can require approval just so decision must be made in how many days? 14. This 14 days is too much, meaning the person that we approve have 14 days to decide whether to approve or not. So you can do disable assignment email. If the assignment has expired, you can say, okay, disable assignments via email. So those are the steps there. So now let's go to the next, which is requestor information. So for requestor information, now you can even add questions for the requestor, like you can collect informations and attributes from the requestor. Requestor is the person that is trying to request access to the package. So the question now I can say, do you work in Amala Place? So answer format, I can say multiple. Let me do short text. So you can do yours like this. Do you work in Amala Place? Short text. The person will answer. So you can put required. So you can do that just like question for them to answer before they enter. So you want to confirm if this person is really working with Femi, because if the person is not working with Femi, then there's no need for you to have access to that package. I can put another question again. Are you a security mentee? So are you a security mentee? Answer format, maybe long test. You can just do it that way. So you can put required here also. So it should be required. So I'll go to life cycle. So for life cycle now, this access package assignment expires on number of days. So if, for instance, Femi people now, I want to give them access for just 30 days because I don't want them to stay more than 30 days. I'll just put maybe 40 days here. 40 days. Let me give them extra 10 days. Users can request specific timeline. If you say yes here, what it means is that users requesting this package will be able to submit a custom start or end date for their access. This request cannot extend beyond the timeline defined in the policy for the access package. Since I've already defined this timeline here, but with this now, what this means is that if I enable this, users requesting this package will be able to submit a custom start and end date. No, I don't want it to be like that. I want them to end the exactly 40 days. I say no, because you can't come and be telling me, because that is how you can allow it now. The person will come and be extending the dates. Say no, except if management say you should say yes, then you say yes here. Then access reviews. You can require access reviews. We are going to talk about this tomorrow. So let me not even touch this one. So we'll go to rules, custom rules. So if you like, you can create custom rule, but this one, It's not compulsory, but you can just use it. Maybe you want to create a custom rule and you want to add a trigger so that maybe, for instance, using Power Automate, anytime, maybe I want to create a Power Automate flow that anytime any user from Amala Place gets added to my directory, that's a trigger. Then give them access to this package. But let's not go that far. So these are the settings I configured. First, these are the resources and rules. So for the Security Bootcamp group member, Sophos, HR, Adobe, Admin Droid, default access. Communication site, I gave them communication site visitors. So this is it. How many? Stage 1. This decision must be made in how many days? 14. This is for those that we approve. They have 14 days to make decisions if they will actually give them access. Because once anybody in friendly companies now require access, so it will be sent to this guy, Chris Green. So it's Chris Green that will now approve it. He's the first approver. If Chris Green approve it, then they have access. So Chris Green has 14 days to approve. So these are the questions that they must answer. Do you work in Amana Place? Are you a security mentee? Then access package life, access package expires, access package assignment expires, requires access review. So this is 40 days. So I'll click on create. So once I create, it validates. Then once it's finished validating, it creates. So it's creating. So Tolu, you can ask your question.
Okay, so I was a bit confused because we selected the second option of users not in your directory, and we added Femi's organization as the organization that the users are supposed to come from, if I'm not mistaken. So the security bootcamp mentees are in Femi's organization. They're not in your directory. So that means that they're not just random external users. They're in an organization that is in Femi's organization.
Yeah.
So okay.
So
that's why we chose. Okay, you can continue.
Okay, so this is it. I want people in Femi's organization to have access to that security mentees group. Because maybe Femi met me and say, Ima, I want my guys to learn cybersecurity because I don't want them to only be into food business. So that tomorrow they can still do cybersecurity for me. And I'll say, okay, no problem, come. And I now went to create an access package. Before I created the access package, I created a group for Femi and team where they would join. Then I now went to my identity governance here. So the first thing I did for Femi guys, I created a group, which is an N365 group, so that Femi's users will have access to that group and get added to that N365 group automatically. Since I've done that, I came to identity governance here. From identity governance, I entered entitlement management. Then from entitlement management, I created a catalog for Femi and his team. So this catalog now, because Femi and his team want to learn security bootcamp, they want to learn. So I just created a catalog for them. Then inside this catalog, I added the resource I want Femi and his team to have access to, which is this bootcamp group, so that we can be creating meetings from here, just like this, so that they can be learning and they can be able to copy things from Teams. And I added these apps so that Femi guys, at least when they are there, they can still do some things and still feel the vibes in my organization. Then I created a package. So this package now, this is where you create the policy, where how many days will the people live? How many days will they have access to? What permissions do they have? That was why when Jenny was asking that question, does the access packages, policies lives inside access package. So that's where you have policies. So this is the initial policy that is here that came with those rules and features I added for the package. So if you go to policy now, you can add a package. You can add a new policy if you like. If you like, you can add it, or you can just leave it. But these are just the way it is. We have separation of duties. You can add package for separation of duties here. You can add assignments. You can add assignment automatically once the user is there. Once the user is in the organization, once the user has been added to the organization as external user, if Christ is not giving the user access on time, you can come here and add it. so that the person will have, maybe they are disturbing you. Chris is busy, he doesn't have time. You do it. You can see access reviews from here. You can review their access. If they are really accessing those things you give them access to, you can see their request. Maybe for instance, some people submitted request and Chris is not approving it. You can call me and check, Chris, what's wrong with you? Why have you not accepted all this? So those are the things. I don't know if I cleared you, if I cleared your doubts and you're able to understand everything we just said.
Yes, but this particular issue now, like if Chris is not available to give permission or access, can't we create that service principle
And we
to
can do that.
effect
We can
it?
do that. So for that permission now, we can use a service principal. Yes, we can use a service principal. And we can also even use, like, we can do it in such a way that it won't only be Chris. They can have other people. That if Chris is not around, they can always assign. But normally it's because we are just in a meeting. How will you be in an organization? You're the one approving. People say they want to have access, agree. They will sack the person now. So you have to be available. You have to be available. So does he have that power? People that are doing business with us, they want to come and learn and pay us money. You are saying you want to accept. See, that mean itself, as they are receiving it, will accept it. So, but we are just saying it in case the guy is not available. So, Uche, ask your question, please, before we continue. Uche,
Okay,
okay.
sir. I'm a bit confused. There was a place you said you said something about sponsor. So then you came up with a list. You click somewhere, then a list came up. Is that list generated here, or maybe it was something you've worked on before? I don't know if you get my question.
Sorry, I don't get your question. Please, can you come again? Please come again. I don't get.
While creating this catalog, there was this option for to enable sponsors.
Okay.
If there's any sponsor, yeah, that list there. Are they the one generating the list, or it was a list of maybe a previous work you've done?
So those lists you saw when I was clicking on sponsors. So those are users in my organization. So those are users that already exist in my organization. So I can just go and pick them. Anybody that is there, I make the person the sponsor. So even when I went to catalog and I clicked on M365, when I selected it, you saw a lot of groups there. So what you will see is what you already have in your organization. You won't see what you don't have. So all those lists you are seeing, they have been created before now.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's just continue and wrap up because we are almost done with the section. So now we have done the demo for catalog. So let's go to how to implement terms of use. So terms of use now is more or less like you can create a terms of use in a PDF and upload it. So this terms of use is used to enable users and license agreements. Let me give an example of terms of use. If you want to maybe buy any product from Microsoft now, you have to, if you're even installing any app, there's always where they will tell you yes or no, accept, yes or no. That is an example of terms of use. So they are giving you that terms of use. So you yourself, under entitlement management, that is where you can create terms of use. There are some standard organizations that if you want to sign in for the first time, you must accept their terms of use. If you don't accept it, you can't sign in. Although some of us, we don't even read it. We just sign in. Like, I beg, no be work, na some money I dey find. It's good you read all those things. So this is how you create terms of use. So terms of use are stored as PDF. A PDF can only contain any content, including contract, end user license agreement, can enforce compliance. So normally in those terms of use, that's where you see the company's policy. There are some companies that they will say, don't use harsh words on your colleague. Don't call any colleague stupid. Don't call any colleague on maybe names that are not good. Don't make any colleague feel less of themselves. You don't talk to any colleague anyhow. There are some organizations that have strict rules like that. There are some organizations that you dare not talk to anybody anyhow. If you try it and there is a trace of evidence, even if it's the manager, they will sack the person. They don't care whether you're under pressure. That you're under pressure does not mean you talk to people anyhow. So there are policies like that, so that you agree. So that policy is meant to guide you. Like, you don't do this in this firm. You don't date yourself. There are some companies that you can't date person in that organization. If they catch you, they will sack you. There are some companies that you can't do a lot of things. So that is where, if for instance, Femi people is coming to my organization, maybe I have fine girls there. I can put it in my terms of use. Femi, I know you have a lot of boys here. I beg. I don't date too. They should not come and be dating my colleagues and they will not be working well. You understand? So you can put that in your terms of use. This thing I just said now is in some organization is there. They don't allow relationship because they believe that if you are dating your colleague, it will reduce your work. You won't be able to work well. You will be confused. So those are terms of use that you can do. You can write it, put anything. If it's a Christian company, you can say you must always go to church. You must always be doing these terms of use. Let's just get that. So you can add that. I'm going to show us how to add it also. So this is a demo of terms of use. Let me just quickly go to the site so that I can just show us how to do it. So this is the site for identity governance. So from here, you can add terms of use. You see it here, terms of use. Once I click on terms of use now, under the identity governance, you can add these terms of use. I didn't create it. It's just Microsoft that just did it for me. But let's say, for instance, I want to add terms of use. Once I come here, I should have already have a PDF. So if I click on upload now, maybe I search for any PDF here. Maybe I search for which one will I even select now? I don't think there's a CIS benchmark must be between 1 and 2,000 bytes. So you see there's even restrictions. So those are the things you need to take note of in uploading terms of use. So this terms of use document now normally it's lawyers that write it. It's lawyers. In an organization, they have legal team. They are the one that will write it. These are the do's and don'ts of this organization. This is what you should not do. This is what you should do. You shouldn't delete any file. If you are caught deleting a file, you will pay 10 million. If you collect money from our clients, you will pay 20 million. If you lose your if we dismiss you from this company, you can't work for any of our clients for the next 3 years. There are some companies like that. If when you were working with them, you were supporting some of their clients, maybe like banks or this thing, if you resign, you can't go and work for those clients until after 2 years or 3 years. Those things will be in the terms of use so that you read it. Maybe tomorrow you know come and say nobody told you. You can do what you like. So you name it, of course. You can require user to expand the terms of use. But this is not best practice. Require users to consent on every device. Some organization, yes, any device you sign in, you must consent to. Consent expire, you can turn it off. If you turn it on, that means you put the data, it will expire. Enforce with conditional access policy. You can even enforce this terms of use conditional access policy so that you can do it in such a way that just like you can create conditional access policy for MFA, you can create conditional access policy for terms of use. So anybody that wants to sign into a new device, you must accept the terms of use before you sign in. But if it's an existing device, no need. You have already signed, you already signed it. That's just terms of use. So we'll continue. So let's go. So the next now we're looking at the management lifecycle of external users. So these are just what happens because manage the lifecycle of external users in Microsoft Entra Identity Governance settings. You can select what happens when an external user who was invited to your directory through access package request being approved no longer have access to the package assignment. This happens if the user like relinquishes all their access packages, assignments, and all. By default, when an external user no longer have any access package assignment, they are blocked from signing into your directory after 30 days. So normally, if maybe the package I created for Femi now, I set it for 40 days. After 40 days now, it means that by default, Femi and his team, they no longer have access to the package assignments, but they will only be blocked after 30 days. I may say I don't want them to be blocked after 30 days. I want them to be blocked like immediately because after that 40 days like this, I want them to be blocked. I don't want them to have access to my package, like to my environment. I want to block them. So those are the things or remove them. So if you go next now, you can create lifecycle management here under settings in entitlement management. If I come to my own pane now, because of license limitation, I don't have that luxury to create settings for that. So had it been I have it, I would have shown us how to create it. If we come back to the slide here, you can see it from here. Under access package, if you go to settings, you can see. But let me see if I can actually check it, because you can always go back and watch the recording. So it's not here. So the only setting I have is for access review. So we are talking about access packages and no settings here. So we'll just continue. So if you want to configure the settings to block external users from signing in, so you can say number of days before removing the external users from this directory. Some organization is 1 day. 1 day, delete them, because once their package has expired, they should go. You don't need them again. If you need them again, they should come in again and reapply. So that's the rule. Don't apply emotions to things like this. Once they are done with their work, they should go. So block external user from signing into this directory. You can do yes. If you do yes here, that means you are blocking external user. They can't sign in. Remove external user. You can do all this under the settings for entitlement management. That is after their entitlement is over. So the next is connected organization. So we can see the way we connected Femi's organization to our organization. So there are 3 ways that entitlement management lets you specify the user that form a connected organization. Users in Microsoft 365 Entra ID. So you remember when we were creating the settings, we picked these options first, because these options now means that the users are in my organization. But because the users are not in my organization, that's why I picked users in another non-Microsoft Entra directory. I picked users in non-Microsoft Entra directory that has been configured for direct reduction. So if you want to connect to additional organization, just like an organization that you want to do B2B with, business to business collaboration, this is how you do it. So if we look at this diagram here now, we have Wood Bank and Contoso scenario. So Woodgrove Bank now, suppose you work at Woodgrove Bank and you want to collaborate with 2 external organizations. These 2 organizations has different configuration. So the graphical design illustrates uses Microsoft Entra ID and its users have a user principal name that ends with graphics design institute.com. Contoso does not yet use Microsoft Entra ID. Its users have a user principal name that ends with contoso.com. If we look at this, we have Woodgrove Bank here. So this Woodgrove Bank now, they have access package that this organization, Graphic Design Institute and Contoso want to connect to. They want to connect to Woodgrove Bank and have access to this access package. So you can connect to organizations that don't even have Microsoft Entra ID, like Contoso here. Contoso does not yet use Microsoft Entra ID. It's not all organizations that will use Microsoft. There's some organizations that can tell you that they don't want to use Microsoft. They want to use Zoho. They want to use Oracle. They want to use AWS. So it's not by force that you must use Entra ID. And because the organization does not use Entra ID, does not mean that you cannot collaborate with that organization. So you can collaborate with an organization that does not use Microsoft Entra ID. So that is where this comes in. So this graphical design institute now, they have Entra ID. That is why we see Entra ID logo here. Femi now, Femi's organization has Entra ID. You can see how it was easy for me to just view his domain name, the name of his company, Amala Place, and I just gave him everything, and you see he has access to the package. So we can see that. So that's just the way you can do that. So if you want to add a connected organization, just like we demonstrated it, we go to identity governance, entitlement management, connected organization, you add it, you do this, you do that. So that's you can add sponsor. So you can do what you want to do. So we can review per user entitlement. So if you want to review per user entitlement, remember when we came here, I was showing us that time under access package. If we come back to access package here now, let me show us under access package. So if I click on this access package here, mentees package, if I click on assignments, had it been maybe this package now, Femi's guys have started assessing and they are actually running things, I'll be seeing them here. I can create a new assignment for them. I can do what I want to do. I can extend as the admin. If 40 days is elapsing and Femi call me and say, guy, how far? We never finished this project, so I beg, help us extend them. I can extend, like, okay, Femi is my guy, let me just extend it because of relationship, and I don't want him to maybe feel that you get all those kind of things. There are some things you can do just to build relationship. So that's are just the things. So but this one now we can see a lot of assets, initial policy delivered. This one expired. That means all these ones, their policy have expired. They are no longer they no longer have access to that package because the date specified has expired. So you can review assignments with PowerShell. For those of us that knows how to do all these things very well, like AGK that is always creating Python scripts. So if you want to automate all these things using Python, you can do it like this. You can get entitlement, this, you can do that. Anything is possible actually. You can do anything. You can define catalog. So this is what we covered during this section. We define catalogs, we define application packages, we saw how we can plan, how we can implement and manage entitlements, we saw how we can implement and manage terms of use, and we saw how we can manage the lifecycle of external users in Microsoft Entra ID. So that will be all. I want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate your effort and for staying in the class for this long. Thank you very much, and that's all from me. So I'll be stopping the recording now. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Yeah.
We just have 5
Okay.
minutes for questions.